Hello, Shiny One, and welcome to day 3 of our 34-day journey with the angels. I'm so happy to be with you, and I thought I'm going to do something that I normally do off camera with you so that you can see the process. So, if you have been following along with the journey so far, yesterday you were working with Archangel Michael. So, let's just ask this is something that I always do. I ask the angel that I've just been working with to step out of my field and then inviting the new angel. And today we're going to be working with Archeia Virtue. Oh, it feels extra light and extra soft today as she comes in. But let's just, as Michael was sharing with us yesterday, keep up our spiritual hygiene as we now ask, and if you want to join along with me, just asking Archangel Michael to step out of your energy field, giving thanks in your own way to everything that he was able to share and bring into your environment, into your mind, into your heart. And as he steps out, we invite in Archeia Virtue, who comes forward out of the green, pink, and emerald ray of truth, healing, divine love, spiritual science. We invite her in to this day to be with us, to inspire, to support, to nudge us in any ways that we are ready for, especially around healing. And as you open your eyes, let's chat a little bit about Archeia Virtue. So she is the twin of Archangel Raphael. Again, another angel that you may have heard of before or worked with. Raphael, synonymous with healing, another big brother. But the divine feminine counterpart of Raphael is often not spoken about. And here we are. Here she is, Archeia Virtue. Her name comes from the Latin virtutium, which means goodness. And she really does help us to come into a state of goodness, to see that this world isn't so bad, that humanity isn't that bad. There is goodness. There is goodness here. And also, of course, there is goodness within each and every one of us. And she supports us to see that. I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but in her card, in her depiction, she asked for the DNA helix to be weaved through her dress. Because when we work with virtue and we bring in her teachings into our life, we really do heal at such a deep level, at such a cellular level, that the ancestral patterns, and if you've done any ancestral healing, you might know the patterns of maybe abandonment or the patterns of abuse or the patterns of guilt or shame that have been weaved through your story, weaved through your line. I firmly believe, as the angels always guide us, that we are here to be the code breakers, to be the rebels, the ones that shake up our genetic and ancestral line and go, you know what? It's an end to that cycle. It's an end to that behavior. As we come forward and really heal. And as we heal at such a deep level, we're healing for all of the generations. And the way that she does that is she reminds us that every act of healing, whether it be emotional, physical, spiritual, emotional, if we are to heal it at its absolute core, its essence, at that kernel of the essence and the juice within that kernel of the essence, if we are to go to such a deep level, we must employ some form of forgiveness, whether it is forgiveness of ourselves, forgiveness of another, forgiveness of the environment or the situation. There has to be forgiveness. If there's not forgiveness, there will not be true and absolute and deep healing. Also, to really love fully in our life, and to love another fully and unconditionally, we must be able to forgive fully. And often at the root of not being able to forgive is not being able to accept ourselves, not being able to accept what is, what we feel another has inflicted upon us, or whatever the situation. We will talk more as this transmission continues about forgiveness. We might even do some forgiveness exercises. right at the end of this transmission. But she really wants to reiterate this point that without forgiveness, there is no true healing. She reminds us as well that we have everything that it takes to heal anything. Friends, I can tell you, I have been given diagnosis for different things in my life, and the doctors have said you will always be on, for example, hormone replacement for hypothyroidism. And I just did not accept that diagnosis. I did not accept the prognosis. As Virtue says, the prognosis is always in our hands. It's up to us what we choose to empower. I was able to heal that. I was able to heal from postnatal depression, really bordering on psychosis because it was so dense, it was so dark. Bulimia, sexual abuse, sexual trauma, divorce, and all the other myriad of things that we all go through, but sometimes we just don't feel comfortable. We don't feel safe in order to share our wins, to share our stories. But really, and this beautiful angel, as she comes forward and we ask her to be with you right now, we have to be real with our feelings. If you have read the book and you've went into the chapter with Archeia Virtue, she has this big section called Be Real to Feel. We've got to be real with our feelings first. We've got to go to that place of vulnerability, even if we're not sharing it with another person or sharing it with the whole world here. I've got nothing to hide, so I just share. I just share because I know that through the sharing, I'm relating to you, and therefore there is going to be healing. So we need to be real with our feelings, even if it's just to ourselves. That then opens the door to that pathway of forgiveness, that then opens the door to that pathway of forgiveness, that then opens the last door to healing, and then we rise. Because, of course, we can't change past experiences. We can't change the events, the trauma of our past, of our stories, of our childhood, but we can change the way that we respond to them by opening these many doors. And here on her card, she says, open your heart. Open your heart, beautiful sister and brother, to that which you are ready to heal, even if the mind says, this is my diagnosis for life. This is what the doctors said. This is what a whole panel of doctors have said. These are what these specialists have said. Just for a moment, say to yourself, what if it's possible for me to detach from that story, to detach from that accepted, conditioned way of seeing and being, and actually open up to the possibility that healing is my birthright, that wellness is my birthright. And all I need to do is be real with my feelings to start that process of dissolving what feels in the way of my wellness. It really is as simple as that. I know I'm making it seem like, oh, that's just so easy. We just flick a switch, and then we don't have this, this, and this. It is a process. It does take time, but the more that you are real with your feelings, invite in Archeia Virtue, who brings forward this pink, this emerald, this soft light that opens up our heart and our higher heart chakra, and also our throat and our third eye to some degree. But it's mainly her focus on our heart. Because when we drop out of the mind, when we stop clinging to the stories that the doctors have given us or we have given ourselves, I am this, whatever is after that I am statement, whatever you're believing and empowering, when we drop from that space and come into the heart doesn't cling. The heart is free. The heart is open to so many different possibilities. Everything is available in the space of our heart. So when we open up our heart, we come into a different perspective. Ah, okay. We come into a little bit of curiosity. Maybe I can heal from this, or maybe I can take some steps towards dropping some of the symptoms, dropping some of the belief systems that I have. Okay, so that's a little bit about Archeia Virtue. Her crystal associations, let's talk about them. So mainly it is petalite, which is similar to rose quartz that I'm wearing. Petalite is a bit more milky, it's a whiter, more opaque. Rhodochrosite, which I don't have, and also a crystal that I've never talked about before in the books anyway, to do with angels and crystals. and it is Huldanite. Huldanite, which is from the zeolite family. And a lot of the zeolites, like stilbite, apophyllite, they're very soft, they're very gentle, but don't let that fool you because they work at such a deep level, at such a deep cellular level, like Virtue does, to help us to dissolve the emotional hooks and the mental hooks and the contracts that we have created, because often this is the sad thing, but it's the real thing, something that doesn't get talked about a lot, but I see it a lot in myself, see it a lot in my one-to-one clients, is that when we have went through something in our childhood and that first cycle of childhood, when we start to really see what's happening in our environment and become imprinted by that happens around about the terrible twos. Hence the terrible twos, that first sense of being separate from the mother, being separate from everything else. Then we go through another stage between 6 and 8 and another stage between 10 and 12. And there are pivotal times. And what happens in those windows of our childhood really affect our behaviors, they affect our values, they affect our personality, they create our personality, they also create our wounding, our stories. Now, often if you have experienced, and it could be something super small, like you were shamed by a loved one, or you went through like bigger trauma, more emotional trauma, sexual abuse, violence, bullying, at those times, those specific times. And of course, other times in your childhood and adolescence does affect. But what happens in order to, because we're so adept, our inner child is so adept, our inner child is such a wee master. What we do in order to protect ourselves, in order to absorb some of that pain, is we create a contract. We create a contract either with ourselves, buying into the drama and the story and the identity we're giving ourselves. Oh, you are shameful. You are a dirty little girl, or you are, or you are a horrible little boy. You will never amount to anything. Whatever has been impressed upon us, we start to buy into that. And in order to absorb some of the pain, to lessen some of the suffering, we create a contract with ourselves, or we create a contract with our caregivers. And often they are talking from their space of wounding that they haven't healed. And so this amazing crystal, Huldanite, helps us to be very aware of the contracts that have been set up, because often these are, you've set them up on your subconscious. Helps to bring them to the surface so that you can say to yourself, am I still alive to that contract? Do I want to empower that contract? If not, you rip it up. You set that other person free. You set yourself free, because of course, forgiveness is an act that you give to everybody. You're not letting people off the hook for what they said or did or didn't do, but you are changing the way that you respond. You're changing the way that you respond to yourself, because when we hold aspects and areas of unforgiveness within ourselves, we are blocking ourselves from that incredible relationship, those incredible friendships, those incredible connection, that incredible connection with ourselves. We're blocking ourselves. We're literally saying, I have a contract of separation. Okay, so the Hildenite and rose quartz and petalite, but mostly this beautiful one. So do get yourself a piece of raw Hildenite and have it by your bedside and sleep with it and just ask. And you can also bring the card if you have an Archeia Virtue and the Hildenite together. I give you permission to go into my what's called Akashic records. Those of you who know this already, you'll be a fay with your records, but those of you who are watching, we house memory within our soul. So we have what's called our Akashic records, or Akasha. So you're giving permission to the Huldanite, the frequency of the Huldanite, the energy of Archeia Virtue to go into these spaces in your Akashic records to pull out the contracts and give them permission to dissolve that which you are not alive to, that which has been a contract of pain, a contract of suffering. And I know we're going pretty dense today, but that's okay, because Virtue is an angel that helps you in the dense moments. She is the universal mother. She's a fantastic soother. She helps us to bring greater peace. She's got doves above her head because she brings in peace. She knows that peace comes. Peace of mind, peace of heart, God, peace of everything comes when we say, yes, I am going to forgive this person, this circumstance. I'm going to forgive mom. I'm going to forgive dad. I'm going to forgive my siblings. I'm just going to let them all be. And I'm going to bring that gift to myself so I can dissolve all the barriers that I have created subconsciously, consciously against love, against accepting myself, against loving myself. I'm going to let them all go. And let me tell you a wee bit of magic. So I don't have a long time today, even though I've been talking for quite a while to share this transmission. And so I wanted to get all the crystals prepared and the cards prepared. So we're just ready to go today. And I went to my bedroom to pick up this Huldanite, which I haven't been actively using. It's just part of an altar on the windowsill in my bedroom. It's like, oh, it's not there. Wonder where it is. And I looked down on my bed and it was placed on my pillow, where I would normally have it if I was actively working to dissolve soul contracts or for forgiveness or healing, especially on your heart chakra. It was just sitting there. And I said to my daughter, "Did you put that on my pillow?" She said, "No." So there's nobody else that could do that because at the moment it's just me and my daughter because the boys are with their dad. I thought, oh my gosh. So anyway, a little bit of magic, a little confirmation that if this is resonating with you, even if you don't believe in crystals, friends, you've never worked with them before, just again, go to that place of curiosity. But Hilda Knight, oh, amazing. Love, love, love. And I actually did sleep with Hilda Knight last night and had a really good sleep. Okay, so that is so much information about Archeia Virtue. I think we're going to leave it there. I don't think we'll do a process today. But someone was asking me if at what time do I go live? So these are actually recorded and then I upload them to YouTube. But the next live recording, if you love these videos and you want to be in the live space with the angels and journey with them, the next online gathering is going to be April 19th. And I'll put the link to the angel gathering. It's with Cacao. It's with an amazing group of souls worldwide. So do come and join us on April 19th. And if you have the book, friends, so either the book goes much more, and there's a beautiful forgiveness ceremony in the book. But if you have the card deck, there is also something called Awakening Your Higher Heart. And I'm getting a little nudge just to even dip into that energy just for a couple of minutes before we close. So if you do have Archeia Virtue's card, then just bringing it to your heart center, closing your eyes. And because we're working with her virtue of goodness, just begin to feel into what is goodness for you. What does that mean? Maybe it's a particular someone in your life that you just feel oozes goodness, or it might be a particular flower. Virtue's flowers are daffodils, and here in Scotland, in the Northern Hemisphere, it's decorated with daffodils. So it's a great time to work with virtue, to breathe in goodness, to open to forgiveness and healing and accepting, dissolving soul contracts, saying to yourself, yes, I am ready to open my heart to love and be loved in return. And anything that's in the way, I delete, destory, uncreate on all timelines, space, and dimensions. I let all go as I return to love, as I return to innocence, and so it is. Big breath in, full breath out. And we invite in Archeia Virtue and her soft pink light, the pink light that's in every act of healing, to weave through us, to go to any places of density and just begin to unknot, to unravel, dissolve where we are clinging, clinging to pain, clinging to suffering, clinging to unforgiveness. May you give us the power, may you show us our strength to just say, okay, I let that go. I let that go. I let in love. I allow myself to move forward. And for this day, working with virtue, just bring to mind anyone or anything that you are ready to forgive. Write that person or that situation a letter and be real with your feelings. Call that thing or that person out. Don't judge or censor yourself. Vent, scream, do a temper tantrum. Let your inner child really emote and share. Cry, laugh. Empty yourself of the feelings. And then bring that person or that thing into your heart space. And like two people just sitting on a park bench, just sit with them, just sit with that thing, sit with that person or those or the group of people. And see all bathed in the beautiful pink, soft ray. Soft, yes, because it's filled with compassion, but powerful. A pink that runs deep. A pink that isn't afraid to be seen. And let all be bathed, let all be seen. Let all be held in the love of your heart. And any contracts that you have with them that feel less than that, less than love, just say to yourself, I dissolve it, I let it go. In all my sovereignty and all my power, I let you go with love. Breathing them out of your heart space, letting them go. And then affirming the commitment that you're making with yourself. For example, as I let go of these people and this situation, I return to unconditional love with myself, with all. And this has created the space for me to believe in the goodness of humanity, to believe that there is good people, to believe that there is good experiences for me, fantastic experiences for me here and to come. Believing is seeing, and seeing is believing, as Virtue shared in her book. So true. And when you're ready, friends, opening your eyes. And we give thanks to Virtue. And let's stay in her cozy embrace for the next 24 hours. Let me know what flows. Let me know how your day was yesterday with Michael. And if you want to join live for the next group, the next being in the company with the angels on the 19th, then the link is in the comments. See you tomorrow.